How did a preacher's son become America's most notorious outlaw? Jesse James. His name is synonymous with the Wild West, a legend of daring heists and bloody shootouts. But the truth behind the legend is far more complex. In this epic tale, we delve into the life and death of Jesse James. We'll explore his brutal upbringing during the Civil War, his descent into a life of crime, and the shocking betrayal that led to his demise. Was Jesse James a Robin Hood or a cold-blooded killer? Join us as we separate the myth from the man and uncover the true story of the Wild West's most famous outlaw. Clay County, Missouri, 1859. Dust devils danced across the golden fields, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing within the James household. 10-year-old Jesse James, a scrawny boy with eyes the color of a stormy sky, watched from his bedroom window as a ragged group of men huddled with his father, Reverend Robert James. Their leader, a hulking figure with a blood-red beard, was William Quantrill, a notorious guerrilla fighter with a reputation as ruthless as the Kansas sun. Jesse's father, a Baptist minister with a gentle spirit, disapproved of Quantrill's methods. Yet, the tide of the Civil War was turning, and whispers of Yankee atrocities against Southerners filled the air. Quantrill's fiery words, promising vengeance against the Union, resonated with the Reverend's own simmering anger. The next morning, Jesse awoke to an empty bed beside him. His brother Frank, a year older and Jesse's shadow, was gone. A pang of fear twisted in his gut. He found his mother, Zerelda, a woman of steely resolve, packing a knapsack with jerky and bullets. Tears welled in her eyes, a stark contrast to her usual stoicism. "Frank's gone with your father, Jesse," she said, her voice rough with emotion. They joined Quantrill's raiders. The news ignited a spark of rebellion within Jesse. Though young, he craved the same sense of purpose that had driven his father and brother to arms. The once peaceful fields of Missouri now echoed with the thunder of war, and Jesse, like many young men, felt the intoxicating pull of violence. Years blurred into a brutal montage. Jesse, barely a teenager, found himself riding alongside Quantrill and his raiders, a band of Confederate guerrillas known for their brutality. He witnessed acts that scarred his soul: the cold-blooded murders of unarmed civilians, the pillaging of towns, the gleeful cruelty inflicted upon anyone suspected of harboring Union sympathies. One night, under the pale glow of a crescent moon, the raiders descended upon the town of Centralia, Missouri. Screams tore through the night as they gunned down unarmed Union soldiers who had surrendered. Jesse, his hands slick with sweat and the metallic tang of blood, participated in the massacre, a chilling baptism into the world of violence. The aftermath was swift and brutal. The Union retaliated with a vengeance, burning farms and leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The James farm wasn't spared. Returning home, Jesse found their once proud homestead reduced to smoldering embers. His mother, her face etched with despair, revealed that his father had died in a skirmish, a victim of the war he so fervently believed in. This loss ignited a firestorm within Jesse. The idealistic boy who once yearned for adventure was gone, replaced by a hardened young man consumed by hatred. He swore vengeance on the Union, vowing to make them pay for what they had done to his family and his home. Following the destruction of their farm, the James family relocated to a ramshackle cabin on the outskirts of Kearney. Jesse, barely out of his teens, became the man of the house. He took on odd jobs, his days filled with a gnawing bitterness and a thirst for revenge. His nights were spent studying newspaper articles detailing Union atrocities, each story fueling his rage. One day, a familiar face appeared at their doorstep: Frank. Older, battle-hardened, and sporting a nasty scar across his cheek, Frank brought news of a new plan. He had fallen in with a group of ex-Confederate soldiers led by Cole Younger, a man as ruthless as he was cunning. Their aim? Strike back at the Union by robbing banks and railroads, symbols of Yankee dominance. Jesse didn't hesitate. He saw this as not just a chance to survive, but to strike a blow against the very system that had taken his father and their home. Together, the James brothers joined the fledgling gang, a motley crew of ex-soldiers and drifters bound by a shared hatred and a taste for adventure. Their first target was a small bank in Liberty, Missouri. The robbery was a success, netting them a meager sum but igniting a spark of notoriety. Newspapers, desperate for sensational stories in the post-war lull, dubbed them the James Younger Gang, painting them as Robin Hood figures stealing from the rich to give to the poor. The truth, however, was far less glamorous. The gang's operations became more brazen. They hit banks in Blue Springs, Savannah, and Russellville, their tactics evolving with each heist. Jesse, a natural leader, emerged as the brains behind the operations. He meticulously planned their attacks, studying layouts, devising escape routes, and exploiting security loopholes. His ruthlessness, however, became legendary. He didn't hesitate to shoot anyone who stood in their way, leaving a trail of fear and blood in their wake. Despite their brutality, the gang gained a following amongst some Missourians still bitter about the war. Rumors swirled that they distributed a portion of their loot amongst struggling farmers, further solidifying their Robin Hood image, albeit a far-fetched one. However, the law was hot on their heels. Pinkerton detectives, led by the relentless Detective Alan Pinkerton, doggedly pursued the gang. Shootouts became commonplace, leaving members wounded or dead. Frank James was captured and sentenced to prison, a harsh reminder of the precariousness of their existence. Jesse, however, remained elusive. He married Zerelda Mims, a fiery redhead who became his loyal confidant. They had 4 children, raising them in a constant state of paranoia as they moved from hideout to hideout. One fateful day in 1879, the gang pulled off their most audacious heist yet, robbing a Missouri Pacific train near Adair, Iowa. They netted a staggering sum of $60,000. The Adair robbery cemented the James Younger Gang's infamy. Their faces plastered across newspapers nationwide, they became national outlaws, hunted by every lawman in the country. The pressure, however, began to take its toll. The gang splintered, some members weary of the constant flight and violence. Cole Younger, ever the pragmatist, saw the writing on the wall and proposed a daring plan: a bank robbery in Northfield, Minnesota, a town far removed from their usual stomping grounds. Jesse, however, remained fixated on Missouri. He believed their heartland offered them a certain level of sympathy from the locals, a dangerous gamble in the long run. The Northfield raid went disastrously wrong. The bank teller, a Civil War veteran himself, refused to be cowed. A shootout erupted in the town square, leaving civilians dead and several gang members wounded. Forced to flee, the remnants of the gang limped back to Missouri, their once invincible aura shattered. Yet, Jesse, ever the gambler, refused to give up. He convinced Frank, recently paroled from prison, to form a new gang, a desperate last stand against the ever-tightening noose of the law. Meanwhile, Governor Crittenden of Missouri placed a hefty bounty on Jesse's head, dead or alive. This ignited a frenzy amongst bounty hunters, every two-bit criminal seeing a path to riches in capturing the notorious outlaw. One fateful day in 1882, Jesse, under the assumed name of Thomas Howard, settled in St. Joseph, Missouri with his family. He yearned for a normal life, to raise his children in peace.